The death of John Lang. On the afternoon of September 23, 1880, on a farm just a few miles outside of Gallatin, Tennessee was occupied by David Lang and his family. His wife, Emma, his two children, 8-year-old George and 11-year-old Sarah, and their household servants. On that afternoon, Mr. Lang started crossing across the pasture toward his quarter horses. As Lang was crossing the pasture, the horse and buggy of the family's friend, Judge August Peck, came into view on the lane in front of the house. Then David Lang completely disappeared in mid-step. David Lang had just suddenly ceased to exist. This was fully witnessed by his two children, his wife, Judge August Peck, and the judge's traveling companion, the judge's brother-in-law. Understandably, Mrs. Lang screamed. All 5 witnesses ran to the spot they had last seen Mr. Lang, but there was nothing to hide behind or under. The field contained just short grass. The adults quickly searched the field for other possible clues, but to no effect. By nightfall, all the neighbors were involved in the search, and, by lantern, they checked every foot of the field, stamping their feet to try to detect any caves, holes, or cracks that Mr. Lang might have fallen into. Nothing was found. In the weeks following the strange disappearance, Mrs. Lang was bedridden with shock. The county surveyor confirmed that the field was on perfectly solid ground, with no caves or sinkholes. No one had any answers for what happened. Months after the event, in 1881, Lang's children noticed that the grass at the site of their father's disappearance had grown strange and yellow. It formed a circle with a 15-foot diameter. Mrs. Lang never fully recovered. There was never a funeral or memorial service for Mr. Lang. Mrs. Lang eventually left the farm and allowed Judge Peck to rent it out, with the exception of the field in the front of the house. That pasture was left untouched as long as she lived. What had happened to David Lang? In the years since, many authors have guessed. Possibly Lang was an abduction by fairies or UFOs. Perhaps he somehow fell into a different dimension of existence. The atoms of his body suddenly break into their component parts and simply cease to exist. But all of it are just guesses. In the end, there just isn't any way to ever know for sure where the missing farmer went.